So this morning we're going to talk to Dr. Bob Touchton for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. He's got a lot of videos to show you. He's part of the Lunar Lion team, along with actually 3 other people in the room. So you have, if you have questions about what Lunar Lion team, what they're doing, or what their mission is, feel free to ask. Great, thanks.
All right, thanks. So I got to be on the Lunar Lion team because of my previous background in building cars that drive themselves, so self-driving cars. So my role on Lunar Lion doesn't really kick in until next year when we actually have something to work with. First we have to figure out what the thing looks like and how it's going to get through space, and then we can start talking about how to control it have it control itself and do its mission and land gently on the moon and then take off and land in another spot gently on the moon. That's basically the Lunar Lion mission, is to fly a small spacecraft from here to the moon, land, send back pictures, take off or crawl, but in our case take off, land in a new spot, and do the same thing again. If you do that, 20 million bucks, grand prize. Alright, so I thought I would take my time slot here to do a little bit of demonstration and hopefully learning on how to make machines do their own thing, to not have to have remote control, and not have to have a human doing all the thinking. So how do we make these machines think for themselves? And that's another big word, autonomous systems. So you need to use this in a sentence, sometime during the next week, that you want something to happen autonomously, which means it's going to figure it out all by itself. So what makes a machine or a car or a robot autonomous? Well, it's this paradigm here, this idea here, sense, think, act. So if you have those 3 ingredients, you can make something work on its own without having to have a human in the middle of it all. So the sensing is the ability for the system to be able to tell what's going on around it. Now it might be with vision, like with a camera or something, but it could be other kinds of sensors. Alright, so sensors that do work in the robotics world are usually looking something like that. So here's a camera, here's 2 cameras side by side, so they work kind of like your 2 eyeballs, because you have 2 eyeball sensors, right? So that's like 2 cameras. And another kind of sensing is motion. So if it's moving or not moving. Now this is a very important sensor for your generation, if you own a Wii. Anybody own a Wii? You notice how you can play tennis and control your, well, those are motion sensors, so robots can use those same kind of sensors to know when and how they're moving around. Alright, this is us launching our vehicle at the event. You'll see there is no driver. And then some serpentine stuff to see, again, the idea is to make sure that you're staying on the road. And some more cars in the way.
Car?
Alright, now this was one of the other competitors. He didn't do quite as well, but wait!
Self-writing!
And off he goes.
And signals. And no one drives it.
Well, just to have some fun, for just a few bucks, you can buy a car that drives itself. It's not quite as complicated as the one we looked at, but it will follow a track that you draw. It even comes with a track. So as long as you draw a black line on a white piece of paper, this has sensors. It has a teeny tiny little brain, computer program, and it has motors. And so I don't know if you can see it right here, but these two little boxes right there are sensors that, they look for a black line versus, all they can figure out is black or white.
Here, I'll come in right there.
Yeah. And then each of the wheels has its own motor, so when it's running, if it starts to go across the black line, then only one of these will be seeing the right color, and only one wheel turns. If it goes the other way, the other wheel turns. So that's how this guy can just follow the track. You make it sharp enough, did I?
We are playing all the time.
If I can't get it to break, I'm going to send them a note and they should raise the price. Nice. All right, well, make it as sharp as you want. So just to make it a little more understandable for the kids, we got this little self-driving car in the form of a toy. It's got a couple of sensors on the bottom that can tell a black line from a white background. It's got a motor for each of the wheels, and it knows how to steer these two wheels to keep the car with the black line going down the center. So if we put it on a track like this, it'll just go right around and follow it. Then we let the kids draw their own tracks, and everybody put together, and drew a track, and then we laid them down on the floor, and the kids got to see it actually following the track that they wrote. So I think that was kind of a good exercise for them to kind of get a feel for it at their age-appropriate level and all that on cars that drive themselves. Probably tell you.
Go ahead and stand up.
Hi, I'm Bob Touchton. I'm the autonomy lead on the Lunar Lion team, and I'm here today talking a little bit about how autonomy fits into the Lunar Lion, and then I use some of my personal background on self-driving vehicles, cars that drive themselves, to explain it to the kids here today. And we even did a little experiment where we had a toy autonomous vehicle where they got to draw a track on the floor, and then the car would automatically follow the track that they drew. So that's how we pulled it all together today. Let you meet my other comrades here.
Hi, I'm Michael Morden. I work in the power systems of our Lunar Lion craft, working with solar panels and batteries and bringing that all together. And today I'm here just helping out with the demonstration.
And I'm Tyler Bamer. I work in the Student Space Programs Laboratory, which is affiliated somewhat with Lunar Lions, and we help provide some of the younger talent that is starting to make its way in, such as Michael here.
Yeah, I got my start in SSPL as well as Tyler, and we've both been working in the space program lab here at Penn State for a few years now.
Yeah, I'm going on year 6.
Working on our other satellite projects that we have at Penn State. Nothing quite as grand as Lunar Lion, but it's pretty exciting.
And so the way that the Student Space Programs Lab ties into Lunar Lion is that we do remote sensing applications where we work on sending a satellite up into orbit to measure the ionosphere. And the way that this ties into Lunar Lions is that working on this remote sensing, that type of stuff is the same thing we're going to need in Lunar Lions. We're going to need to be able to sense certain things, and maybe it's only taking pictures at certain times or things like that, but the main system logistics remains the same, of being able to collect data and send it back down.